So that certainly was one Brickyard 400, and with a popular winner, a shock winner in a way, but also some other different storylines. Let's have a little bit of a talk about it, shall we? And starting off with the winner, and actually a bunch of the top performers, really. Let's start off with Bubba Wallace. It's his first regular season win, which sounds strange that this is his third Cup Series win, but at the same time, it's the first one that he's done in a regular season. He's won in the playoffs, the Dega win when he wasn't playoff eligible, and the one in Kansas where he was eligible, but it was the 45 and not him, and he'd gone into the 45 after Kurt Busch had won the regular season race. He's locked himself into the playoffs the first time, as in he's been in the playoffs, but the first time that he's won his way in. It's deserved. Started second. He's had a lot of good runs this year, especially on tracks where drafting is some part of it, but not a particularly high part of it. He's been good at super speedways. I mean, his first one was at Talladega. He's run well in Daytona 500s, but yeah, it's a popular win. It's a popular win within the NASCAR community. You saw how many people were congratulating him on the cooldown lap. That said, it probably would have also been popular if Kyle Larson managed to snatch the win at the end. You know, 2 years in a row he's gone and done the Indy 500 and it hasn't worked out. And yeah, he was second this time around for the Brickyard 400. He won last year, so I think he was hoping for a repeat this year. But the 2311 team had managed to dial in pretty well. I mean, if it wasn't for that crash right at the end that took him out, you probably could have seen a better finish for Tyler Reddick. He just got unfortunate with that. Was it the one after the rain? Yeah, that then triggered the second overtime. That was just unfortunate, really. Elsewhere, Denny Hamlin got the fastest lap of the day by a full 10th of a second? Am I reading that right? Was it a full 10th of a second? No way. But he also started 39th. He was able to carve through the field pretty well, as did the likes of Priest and Keselowski. Keselowski, he was up there at the front with not too long to go, but had to go in and pit to help himself out and make it to the end. Someone else did that was Catherine Legg, who managed to get 17th place. That's her best finish, I think, which, I mean, given that she's a former IndyCar driver, to perform well in Indianapolis is perhaps not particularly surprising. It just would have been nice if she'd been able to hold on long enough to get a lap led. That would have been nice, because then you'd be able to have somebody more recent than Danica Patrick. Elsewhere, there were some drivers who I'd probably define as the kind of nearly theirs. I'm thinking the likes of Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman towards the tail end of the top 10, who did charge up at different points but then dropped back down towards the end. Perhaps the biggest standout for this was the person just ahead of Catherine Legg, William Byron, who ran out of fuel, or the person just behind her, Chase Briscoe, who got the pole award, led 34 laps. Ended up coming out of this with 29 points. I mean, Byron came out of it with 36, but it was a bit surprising to see that Briscoe was so far down the order. But that 16 through 19 lot also include Shane van Gisbergen, who qualified 11th, finished 19th, another top 20 on an oval. It's a good run for him. Meanwhile, for people like, I think he was the best trackhouse car, wasn't he? Because Chastain was out early and Suarez was down in 27th behind Riley Herbst. So to say another person to mention, someone like Josh Berry, who had been running well but faltered later on, or Kyle Busch, who was expected to do more. I mean, he spent most of the day running around with tape on the front of the car, so don't know how much more we could have expected, but either way. But let's talk about the standings now after this. Tyler Reddick is 138 points to the good above the cut line, but there are only 3 drivers who are in on points at the moment. Reddick, Bowman, who's 63 above the cut line, and Busch, who's 42 above it. We have 13 drivers locked in. Bubba Wallace has jumped up, by the way. He was down as the 16th, wasn't he? And now he's jumped up to 9th. He's ahead of Joey Logano. If the playoffs started today, he'd be ahead of Logano. He'd be just behind Chase Briscoe. He'd be ahead of Chastain, ahead of Cindric, ahead of Josh Berry. Which says something about how this season has been panning out, doesn't it? That Bubba Wallace could do that because he has been able to be consistent enough with the regular season points that he has, with this win, overhauled Logano and is 18 points clear of Logano, and is 32 clear of Chastain, 33 clear of Preece. I mean, he's not going to be catching Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick is 6th in the regular season points. He's 9 points behind Christopher Bell and has only dropped out the top 5 because of that DNF, the Brickyard 400. But, yeah, just below the cut line, Ryan Preece, 42 out. Kyle Busch, 81 out. And Ty Gibbs, 95 out. AJ Allmendinger and Michael McDowell, 124 and 129 respectively, with Nemechek 134, Jones 147. Carson Hocevar, who had been in the top 16 for a lot of the early part of the season, is 149 points out. He needs to win his way in if he wants to get to the playoffs. But let's end this off with the tie-off. Ty Gibbs versus Ty Dillon. The end of the in-season challenge. It was anticlimactic, wasn't it? At the end of it, Ty Dillon was 3 laps down. Ty Gibbs got himself back onto the lead lap with a couple of good lucky dogs. Now, it was pretty much done before the race itself started. Ty Gibbs qualified 5th. Ty Dillon 26th. He didn't really have the pace in that number 10 with Corlig. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It would have been nice to see the 32nd seed come away with the win. It would have been nice for Corlig to have it. It would have been nice for Ty Dillon. But I think it's managed to establish Dillon as his own driver. I mean, he's done that throughout his whole career, I would say. But it would have been nice to see either of them up towards the front of the end, especially because Ty Gibbs has had a really good run of form as of late. I think since Mexico City, really, he's been into some really good form. That first win is coming. Whether it will happen this year, whether it will happen in the regular season, we'll have to wait and see. But I do believe it will happen. Either way, folks, those are my thoughts and feelings. Thank you so much for watching. And let me know any of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Till next time, it's bye-bye for now.